and I'm getting mighty tired of your trifling ways and of listening to that jackass Bray.
Getting ready to leave Spectrum, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Things have escalated that much?
Well, it's just, well, first of all, I can do my job from home, but they insist that I drive fucking 40 miles to do it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really like too big on filling my $100 fucking tank gas, you know, and the sales cycle there is a little toxic. Like you'll work on something for 4 or 5 months and then some dumb shit will happen and it goes bye-bye. And then I'm left like, oh, cool, I got nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking doing work from home with Rocket. Mm-hmm. Doing mortgages is a little bit more transactional and the money is immediate, you know. The only thing that's going to suck is the hours are going to be really long. I'm sure it's going to have its own problems, but at least I won't have to drive to get there, and I won't have to work on $1 million deal for 5 months and have it fucking vanish in front of my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, like you said, though, there's going to be the pitfalls like anything else too, you know. It's going to have its shit.
The market's not exactly in a great place right now, so that's one thing. But they do. I probably wouldn't be willing to do it if I didn't have a friend that works there now that basically told me kind of the market's a shithole, but they lower the quota commensurately. So
it sounds like you're trading one handful for the other, man. Like just looking at it,
I am like it.
I mean, it's sales. Like I know, you know, we've done a lot of the sales job. It's whether it's channel, chain, in call, out call, big units, little units. It's sales, man. It's
all dog shit.
It's sales, bro. It's sales. It's what
I've
have you done at the end of the day?
I've looked at my year to date.
Yeah.
And if I multiply that over 365, I'm not happy where the number is.
Oh, and I can respect
like
that
as much.
Yeah, I can respect that totally. You gotta take care of your family at the same time. You know, the dollars, even if they were there, they don't go as far as they did before anyway. So,
right.
When you're averaging an extra $50 a week in gas, it's like, fuck, man.
It's a big fucking risk, but I could think of a million ways that it would go wrong. And at the end of the day, it's like, you just got to take the risk, you know what I mean? And just, again, I have a friend that works there, and it was like the situation at like the Wolf of Wall Street, mm-hmm. where he's talking to Leonardo. He's like, show me a fucking pay stub and I come to work for you tomorrow. So he showed me a pay stub and I was like, all right. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I get it, man. I get it. You gotta do what feels right. It's sticky out there right now. That's the scary part. It's real sticky. There's a lot of gotcha stuff going on right now. Oh, yeah. Even, and I know you said it's your friend. I don't doubt that, but like even in the hiring process, there's a lot of like gotcha shit going on right now. It's really weird. Like even reaching out to like companies for interviews and stuff, and it's fucking weird, man. It's really weird. Like these automated like text response companies, like you try to fill out an application at Home Depot or Walmart or somewhere, and it's like a text system. You have to text your info in and then you get hit back via text. So it's like hit this, back and forth. It's really weird, man. Really weird.
It is weird.
It's almost as if they don't want people to go back into these vacant jobs.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah.
I'm just, it's weird. It's weird.
I know what you mean there.
But I would definitely want you to do whatever is right for your family. We have I have obviously quite a bit of legwork to do now that I'm kind of downshifting a little bit from the immediacy of the competitions and stuff. In terms of some of the other projects that we talked about that we got on the horizon for next month. I got quite a bit of legwork to still do, but I'm very excited about that. Have you been able to put any more energy into that, or any other new ideas maybe that have popped up of angles that we could take on any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, getting so I'm hesitant on the seminar thing. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just, and I'm sure you already know this about me, but like, I want to make sure that the finished product is finished and polished, but it's never going to be there realistically, right? So I'm going to count on you at a certain point to be like, dude, yeah. And I see the value in like, hey,
keeping the guide rails on what we're trying to do, I think is super important too. Because it could easily go way this way or way that way.
Right. And I definitely don't want to get carried away.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of balance each other out on that aspect. I think there's a lot of value there, and I feel like, and maybe you can comment on this a little more, but there's a lot of jiu-jitsu dudes probably would appreciate this kind of content and think, oh shit, that's pretty cool. I'd like to get into that,
Yeah. Even beyond like some of the seminar style stuff, as we get more media stuff, like just video, photos, footage in general of sparring. Excuse me. I think like you're hitting it right on the head. Maybe doing like a breakdown from a jiu-jitsu perspective might have some kind of benefit, or just all right, I'm doing just a voiceover, just talking about different entanglements and how these different moves can apply in these type of scenarios and stuff like that.
Yeah. I enjoy
how we break down Michaela's video.
Right. Yeah, no, I enjoy watching stuff and just like viewing it from the third party perspective and like, oh no, don't do that, do this. Even with my rudimentary knowledge on the stuff, it's just fun, like kind of watching it and then thinking about, what I might do in the same position.
Yeah.
Though if I were in the same position, I end up don't doing that. But it's cool to watch it because you learn in the process.
It would be cool. And I know you're busy, but just in terms of getting extra content out there, if you found like one of those law of self-defense stories or something pertinent to anything that we do, and you want to start doing the, go kind of going back to the what grinds my gears thing that we were doing on our old podcast, or just, getting a little rant off your chest or talking technical about it or talking about gear or whatever, I'm happy to throw that stuff up on the social or on the YouTube. People love that shit.
Yep. I'm in the process now, slow but steady, of course, because time is limited, but video production, video editing, stuff like that, and trying to get part of this work from home thing, if I end up making that happen, is kind of setting up an office space with good lighting and shit, and a nice camera to be able to do some high quality production stuff. So that could certainly be on the horizon.
Heck yeah. I don't want to put my eggs in one basket, obviously, but as things start to materialize with space, then all these other things start to materialize with it,
Yeah.
So like having a space to do whatever, recordings and shows and stuff we're doing or what have you, is definitely front of mind in terms of priority. It's kind of one of the things I really like about the space that I saw recently. It's kind of already got like the designated kind of kid homework area, the office, the reception area. You have to like walk through a certain way to get to the mat, so we'd be able to check in and stuff when we do combatives and stuff. It's set up in such a way that would be really beneficial, and it's in a really good location. So.
I was thinking these kind of like podcast things would be nice if they were done in the same room.
Yeah.
With like a good camera, good mics.
Absolutely. It's way better. It's way better.
Value.
And the connection just between us talking is way better when we're in the same room looking at each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't get filtered through the digiwebs.
Right. So, and I think that's how you grab people's attention, is if when they click on the video, it's high quality. Like if you click on a video and it's bad quality, you're just like less likely to listen to the message, even if the message is quality. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's gotta tickle all the senses, you know?
Right.
Oh, I forgot. Look at this. So everybody's asked me about this today. Speaking of low quality, I know my light's kind of washing it out here. No, you would think that happened in the fight that I had on in the paid match that I participated in on Friday. But no, that happened in the Lazy River on Saturday after about 6.5 Bud Light Limes.
Got 6, but you're gonna need like 12, man. What are you, 6?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not making it.
You're taking a break.
I did just compete the night before, so I got to get my sea legs back. But I was probably only like 6-7 meters in and forgot I was in a lazy river and went down under the water and scraped my nose on the bottom. So it had a big, not big, but it had a good size scab on it. And I went and trained last night over at Gracie Palm Harbor. Shout out Tony Way, Brittany Way. And the scab was gone. So now I just got this gnarly little patch right on the edge of the old schnoz. It's cool though. It's good for telling stories. I walk right into Premier Choice this morning to teach Nogi. And there's this really, really sweet older lady behind the counter. I mean, no disrespect, but I have to guess she's at least 75, at least, maybe older. As soon as I walk in the door, oh, what happened to you? Bob's when you should have weaved. I'm like, the fuck? I was like, and we don't joke. Like, I couldn't tell you her name. I'm like, she's like, I'm just messing with you. What the fuck, man?
We got him, boys.
You got him. We got him. Fucking killed me, man. It was kind of wild this past weekend, dude. We had a little vacay. First vacation we've had in quite some time.
That's good.
The in-laws, it was really nice. The in-laws have a timeshare about 25 minutes away from where the competition was. So we just stayed there.
Sweet.
Yeah. It was really, really, really nice. My sister and my daughter and Tracy and me. It was a sick weekend, man. It was a really good time. Competition didn't go my way, but I feel significantly better about this last one than the first one. And I'm not one for excuses, but when I take a step back and look at the slightly larger picture, for not being active in competition for almost 10 years and going up against guys that are literally flying out to go to world trials next week in California. Both of the two guys I fought. I'm like, you know what? The first one really sucked. I wasn't prepared. I underestimated my opponent and I got ran through. Like there's no excuse there. It was garbage. But I set the realistic expectation for the second one to prove to myself that people that have faith in me as an instructor and a competitor weren't misguided, and people that believe in me as a product didn't misplace that investment. Like the card that we were on, I was on the main event. So not being active for almost 10 years, coming out in my first competition and almost 10 years and getting my ass whooped. it took a lot for them to still leave me on the main event of this paid card, a professional grappling card, meaning they're paying us to be there. We're not paying to come show up and compete. So my main focus was really just showing up, like being there, being worthy of all of that. So I felt like I was able to do that. I still feel like I left quite a bit on the table, but at the very least, the old proverbial monkey on the back, I think, is gone. After the match, I was like more jacked up than when the match started. I'm like, where's all this? Like 10 minutes ago, I'm like ready to fight 5 fights right now. I feel incredible. I feel great. I want to go train like right now. It was like midnight and everybody was ready to go home. So I'm like, well, it's a good thing that it's here. And like it relit the forges. You know what I'm saying? Like we're ready to hammer on some steel.
Yeah. The first one, did you walk into that match rolling like you would roll at the gym?
I rolled in with the confidence of I'm a big bad black belt and I'm just gonna walk in and do what I want to people like I always do. Without yeah, I mean yeah. I'm just gonna grab somebody and do what I want to them, whatever. You can struggle if you like. That just makes it more fun. Right. You know what I mean? Like, but that was not the case because
I know firsthand. Yeah, that's why I laugh. Like, yeah.
Well, it's all fine and good until the guy across from you is also a big black belt and also does that to people, and has been actively in competition for the last 6 months, gearing himself up to this peak of performance to get ready to go to world trials. I ran into a fucking buzzsaw, dude, with my ill-prepared, overconfident attitude. Drank 2 beers the night before I went to go compete. Like it's just that kind of like, yeah, I'll be fine, whatever.
That's interesting. I mean,
and I know really better. Works. I know better. But again, it's the hubris. It's overconfidence, right? I'm used to, I'm coach. I'm you know, at least on the mats, I get treated like I'm up here. Even in training, when I go to other academies with friends that compete actively, and I get way more work. I don't get slapped around. Like I get beat. I'm not sure. You know, that happens all the time, but I don't get my ass handed to me a lot. I got my ass handed to me in that first competition. It was 1 minute. I was out of there. Get this guy out of here. Yeah. So that one left me with the taste in my mouth. Like people you care about while watching this. maybe fucking take this a little bit more seriously. You're building a business. You're representing yourself and your brand and the people that have faith in you. Fucking take this shit a little bit more seriously, dude.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I mean, that worries me too, especially with this combative shit, because it's like there's a lot. I don't want to say there's a lot more variables, but I feel like there's a lot more variables in the combative stuff where, like, you can just lose because some shit didn't go your way. And I know it's the same in jiu-jitsu, but you're adding in weapons, so it's kind of a little bit more unpredictable.
And in that situation, and you got to remember, in that context, if we're talking about going live, if you lose, you're fucking dead.
Right.
There's no like, okay, the ref is going to separate us and we get to go back to our locker room and break down the tape. Going live, air quotes, right? So it's important to remember.
Right. That's the worst case scenario, right?
Sure.
Best case is you get your ass kicked in front of your students and they're like, I'm paying for this shit. You know, like,
yes, absolutely.
You lose credibility, you know? But I think realistically, you should expect to, and I don't want to say want to get your ass kicked, but like, it's a good experience, obviously, as you've seen, in these last 2 matches. Like, you feel even better now than you did going into it.
It has lit.
And so it's positive in that way.
It literally relit the forge, man. Like I'm hungry for training again. I'm hungry for competition again, and I haven't had that in a very long time. I'm like excited to go out and get hard matches and fight the toughest guys in the room and get my reps in and feel like I earned it. Like I'm hungry for it again.
Yep. And that was the exact same experience that I had when I, got the shooting award that I did some years ago with Gabe White. And I was like, okay, I worked so hard, let me get a little break now. Like I'm at the top of the mountain. It's real lonely, right? And then I walked into another class a year or two later, first class that I've been in, and there's another world-class shooter there, and there's a level of standards, and he kind of uses the same thing as blue, purple, brown, black belt, whatnot. And the world-class dude gets a black belt. I shot black belt in practice, but when it came for realsies, I got brown belt because I had a mental fuck up. So but that experience was good because I also walked away from it saying, okay, I got you next time. That's fine. It's even better now because now it's going to make me do the work and earn it next time. And when I do earn it, I'm just going to walk into class after not having done anything for the past couple of years and walk away with a black belt. No, I'm going to do the work, come back, earn it, and feel even better than I would have if I just walked in and got it.
Absolutely, because you got checked, you got humbled, you had to go back to the grindstone, man. That's just it. Like that first one, I walked away going, I was outclassed and I did not deserve to be in there. The second one, I walked away going, I got you next time, motherfucker. I got you.
Yeah.
I said to him in the back, all love, if you see this, Maddie. I said to him in the back, I want to fight you again. He's like, I got to fight him first, and then I got you. I'm like, all right, respect, dude. But we're fighting again because I think I got something for you. I think I fucked up, and you got me. You choked the shit out of me. Respect. You see the picture of me. The picture's awful. I'm like, what's happened? It's a horrible picture. But that's the difference.
Joe Rogan's over there like,
yeah. Oh! But that was the difference. The first one, I was like, fuck, I did not deserve to be in there. And that was kind of embarrassing. The second one was more like, I got you next time, motherfucker. I got you. So it felt good. I understand what you're talking about there. And it's that same thing. We're relighting the fire of putting the work in to grind and to earn, because we kind of got our foundation wobbled a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's humbling.
I mean, definitely. I would say you're one of, if not the biggest fishies, in the gym.
Oh, sure.
And I can see how, your energy, you may not be used to modulating it to where it's like, okay, now I'm rolling with the real deal, or somebody that's comparative to yourself, So, and there's a joke in the shooting industry where you go to these like shooting matches and stuff, and you step up to the line, you do your thing, you think you're hot shit, and then the old dude with a fucking oxygen mask with his air tank dragging behind him just pushes your shit in, because with the gun you can do that, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just kind of how it is sometimes when you just underestimate people, but that dude did work. You didn't,
So, that's it. Like, I broke down some video with Kay today. I haven't talked to Gabe yet, but there was a good solid group of us between Tommy and his guys, Tony and his guys, Kevin, Ryan, and their two athletes, and then me, Kay, Gabe. We had out of like 20, I think 26 matches, more than half were people that either we train with by association or I'm directly like really good friends with their coaches, or they're one of our athletes. So it was cool. It was exciting. It took a really long time, but like Michaela's kind of been along on her own journey, but been there in parallel with me over these last two. And she's, you know, seen good shows, poor shows, efficient shows, inefficient shows, and actually kind of stopped to ask me some questions at this one. It was kind of interesting because she could see I was noticeably different, I think, than the last one, and was like, what do you need? Like, you're always getting us ready. What do you need? I'm like, honestly, I feel really good. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. The first one, they ended up switching the brackets, and it's not an excuse. I told you I was drinking beer the day before. I was not prepared. They switched the bracket.
It's an explanation, not an excuse.
Yeah, it's what it is. Like, no, and that's not even it. Like, I did not give my opponent the respect he deserved. He whooped the shit out of me, like, bad, and humbled the fuck out of me, made me go back and put some work in and reevaluate what I was doing. It served its purpose, you know what I'm saying? But the existential dread was present in that one. Like, they changed the brackets, and it's like, I'm screwing around over here. I'm doing this and getting this athlete ready to walk out. All of a sudden, hey, you're ready to go. You're walking. I'm like, wait, what? I'm not even warm yet. Run in, go change, put my shirt on, have it warmed up, and I'm walking out there to compete for the first time in 8.5 years. And the existential dread was probably all over my face. Whereas this time, the situation was a lot different. I was much more in control of myself and everything involved. I felt really good. He's just like, what do you need? I'm just like, nothing. I feel really good. Went out there after the first 5 seconds, the nervous energy was gone and the adrenaline was just flowing. We're feeling good. Went out there, executed a couple maneuvers, did something stupid, got caught by a really slick and sharp and game black belt. You know, no shame over here. I gotta work on that. I did well for 2 minutes and 50 seconds and then fucked up, you know. And here we are. So
right. Let me ask you a question and reflect on this for just a moment before you answer. But on the first one, because you said it was like 8.5 years since you had competed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So walking into that match, how focused on the outcome, in other words, winning, were you? During, before, well, after doesn't really matter, but during and before the match, how focused, if you think back and how you were thinking and feeling at the time, were you focused on the outcome?
It was overconfident to the point of being detrimental. I think my focus was not. It was not so much on the outcome that it was reassuring. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go out here, fuck this kid up. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. Not like that. More like complete disregard for the fact that I still had to go out there and fight. Like, I already won. And sometimes that approach is great in terms of confidence, but if it's not there in preparation leading up to, in my opinion, it can be detrimental, as in, you know, my example, because it wasn't there throughout the training process and the movements within my training, not necessarily just in my mindset, but like training and acting like somebody that's going to win a high level competition that already knows when they walk in, they're going to win that competition. I had the mindset of a lazy person that had already done the work 10 years ago and was resting his laurels on that. Not taking into account that maybe this guy didn't take a break the last 10 years. So in my head, walking out, like up to exiting the locker room, I was like, whatever, I don't care. And then I panicked. I fucking freaked the fuck out when they called me and I was not even warmed up. I was still in my t-shirt and stuff. Like, fuck. And then instantly, all the feelings of the last 3 matches of my MMA career, I lost. I started off by winning 3 and then lost my last 3 in a row. And that's a whole, probably another story, but all of that was like while I was going through separating with my daughter's mom and all this other personal life stuff that I had going on, and my head was nowhere near where it needed to be. I wasn't training properly. I was being a dickhead to my coaches. I was doing all kinds of dumb, irresponsible stuff, and still thinking that, I can tough my way through it because I'm a fighter. And I won 3 fights, right? Like, whatever, nobody can fuck with me. And then decision loss, submission loss, knockout loss. Never been knocked out before.
Oh wow!
At that point in time, it was the fastest knockout in the state of Florida too. I came out there dancing with no corner, by the way. Went to a fight with no corner because I was too cool for school. Got one of my buddies who was in the Coast Guard to come corner for me that happened to live in that city, but just stupid, irresponsible, cockstrong. Came out there, I danced all the way to the cage. I fucking danced from the entry point to the cage. I danced for longer than the fight lasted, Chris. Yeah, I danced for about 10 seconds longer than the fight lasted. Went out there, got knocked flat out. At that time, it was the state record for the fastest knockout, and it did some serious damage to my psyche as an athlete and as a competitor. And couple that with all the personal drama in my life, I had a lot of rebuilding to do. You know what I mean? I had a lot of personal work to do. I had a lot of work as a martial artist to do. I had a lot of work as a man to do. I had a lot of work to do. So it's only just now that I'm comfortable enough in everything that I've got going on between myself, my headspace, my physical health, the relationships in my life, my training, all this other stuff, that I'm like, you know what? I need to get out. I need to get out there again. Not even so much a want, but it's a need at this point. I feel like I need to get out and kind of lead this young team from the front. You know what I mean? And show that it's not all just, yeah, he knows a lot. He talks a lot. He looks tough. Like, no, I can get out here and fucking get after this shit. Like, I know what I'm doing too. Like, let's go do it.
No, nobody is above being a student.
Ever.
And it's the redemption arc of the story, or a warrior story. It's how, like, every novel and movie ever is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course, it's perfect. I ask about the being focused on the process, because one of the things that I learned in shooting was being focused on the process rather than the outcome. And that's so fucking hard, especially after you've done the work. Because after you've done the work, you see your progression. And it can happen really quickly, the progression. And you say, well, shit, I've done the work, I've done this, I'm this, that, and the other thing. You start defining yourself in a certain way, and you neglect to understand that there are other people who may indeed be even more toxic in terms of their ability to, like, grind themselves down, and put in hour after hour after hour, because in your circle, you're the biggest fish. And so there's a methodology that I learned in shooting, and I'm curious actually if it transfers over into competition for jiu-jitsu. Excuse me. And it's basically, you do your practice dry fire, right? And you push your practice to the ragged edges. You put yourself in, probably in terms of jiu-jitsu, vulnerable positions to lose on purpose, almost, until the wheels fall off, so to speak. But the key after that is you always end every practice session with what one of my instructors calls match mode. And that is executing all of the fundamentals exactly the way that you're supposed to, letting go of the need for everything else, executing the fundamentals exactly as they need to do, and letting go of the need to go fast, and win. You do that in practice. When you get to the match, before the match, You visualize what it is that you're going to do, what your plan, what your process is. And then just before you step up to the stage to shoot or step inside the ring to fight, you let go of it completely. It's gone. Let it go. Drop it on the ground. And then just execute. And I think that puts your head into a state where it allows your brain to execute the way that it did in practice. Earn the things that you already did in practice, but you're not going to get any better the day of the competition.
Yeah,
a lot of people feel like they can eke extra points. So I wonder how much translation there is possibly there.
There's a tremendous amount, and you'll hear it referred to or talked about in probably innumerable ways, but you are who you are in practice. Like that's one of those things that you hear all the time in multiple sports, not just martial arts. And there's never any substitute for the real deal, but you try and get close. But in that same vein, not every practice is simulated, world championship sparring matches. There's a lot gained in those flow matches where we're not worried about outcome, like you said, or flawlessly executing or transitioning between techniques and getting to new positions and allowing for creativity in a safe experimental space. That's what helps us kind of deliberately develop those new neural pathways and start putting stuff together. But in terms of the overall process, the visualization is huge. Self-talk is huge. But most importantly, when I walk in there, the most success that I found when that cage door closes behind me is when I'm able to focus on being the witness, is what I would call it. And I think we're talking about the same thing, but literally taking the process, dropping the process, and trusting all of the programming that we've done on this to just do what it needs to do, and taking a step back and being the witness in the processing unit. And I'm literally in my mind sitting in the theater seat and just watching everything go by and just calling out the bad shit when it needs to be called out. And that's the most successful, you know what I mean? Not when I'm like, fuck, what's that? Okay, I think about every bit of every process. I can get lost in the process too, in my opinion. So focusing deliberately just on the process doesn't really work for me yet, because the process is so fluid and dynamic. Process can change from, a high inside single to a low outside single in a matter of a tenth of a second if you've got an explosive athlete, which both will require very different hand entanglements and different defenses to free my leg and not end up in a pin scenario. So to focus specifically on the process could leave you a step behind,
Agreed. Yeah, I guess I would say so. When I say think about the process in terms of shooting, like shooting a match is a one-dimensional, if you will, a three-dimensional problem, in that the cardboard is not shooting back at me. So it's dynamic, but it's also relatively static, because when I walk up to the line, I even have the ability to walk to the stage and develop a plan of action. Where it gets challenging is everybody else has that ability as well. Mm-hmm. So I have to have the best plan, also the best execution over everybody in order to win them. And so, the board's not kicking me or the cardboard's not kicking me in the face, but I also do need to have the most effective tactic available. And so when I say focus on the process, it's one-dimensional shooting, and it's more dynamic and fighting, but it's giving your brain the space to operate the way that you trained it to in practice. It's giving it that breathing room, because as soon as the ego or anything else steps in and says, oh, no, you should do this, or second guess yourself, that's where you run into trouble.
That voice in your head is the motherfucker, dude. That first match where I got annihilated was both matches, honestly, and I got submitted in both. And neither one was by a move I haven't seen before. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. they're moves that I know how to get out of. It was the panic factor, the oh crap.
When's the last time you got caught in one?
Leg locks all the fucking time. But the guillotine, fuck, I'd be lying if I said in the last probably 4 or 5 years, honestly. And that's even including
the leg locks are relatively new, right?
Well, for me, not new. Yeah, it's not something I'm versed in enough for the level where I'm competing at, and that's a huge flaw in my game that I'm working on right now. You know what I'm saying? Offensively, I'm okay, but defensively, it's something that I really need to continue working on because like you said, it's a huge meta in the game right now. Like that's a lot of the game is leg entanglements. So I need to get better at it. But again, being away from competitive grappling has allowed me to focus on other things. I do other things very well, which is great for things like MMA and different stuff. That's awesome. But when we're talking about competitive jiu-jitsu, which has not, admittedly, not been my focus, well, I need to kind of get with the times a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So like this stuff it's practical in its own aspect. A lot of the things that I'm working on now to get better at competitive jiu-jitsu, I'm not going to have my MMA fighters do. I'm not going to bring the combatives courses. It'd be silly because let's be honest, if I'm swinging a knife at you and you go to an outside ashi position and try to transition to a single leg X and extend my hips out, I'm going to fucking stab you. Like I'm not worried about points or the potential for the takedown or you trying to sit up and trip me or me trying to backstep to guard pass. No, I'm going to stab you. Like, so it doesn't work there. Right. And I mean, and there's examples of MMA guys going for leg locks, like Gary Toonan just got knocked out a week or two ago. He's a really good fighter. Like that's not an everyday thing, but it can happen. You start shooting leg locks. I mean, you still got to contend with getting punched in the face.
You remember what I said when you told me that happened? I don't know who Gary Toonan is. But, yeah, you just got knocked out because you went for a leg lock. I said, good.
Yeah. You got knocked out bad too. Like you got his head bounced. But like that's the thing. It's a risk. So is there an advantage for me to teach that at my MMA fighters? They got to know how to defend them. They got to know how to get out of them. But do we need to spend countless hours there unless they want to be competitive jiu-jitsu fighters? Not really. We got stuff to worry about like wrestling and kickboxing and working off the wall and all kinds of other stuff. You know.
So I wonder about this. How much value is there to learning the most effective strategy to winning competition now that it's leg locks overwhelmingly? And
so
where do you draw the line? Like
the value for me is tactics. It's forcing me in let's call a new sport because I've not been a coach of a competitive grappler. Michaela's the first competitive grappler that I've been a coach for. That's a strictly competitive jiu-jitsu fighter. My previous coaching has been, I mean, I've coached for like tournament jiu-jitsu, but mostly MMA and kickboxing, like mostly. Is where my coaching experience is. So in going to teaching basically a new sport, air quotes, even though it's not a new sport, contextually it's different than what we do. It's a new sport. So learning tactics, learning strategy, learning how to adapt what we do to be the most effective within these confines is where I see the value versus extracting. I mean, there is stuff to extract, right? There's stuff that I've picked up in getting better at being a competitive grappler that I can apply to my game as a whole. Yes, there is a lot of overlap there, but I think the majority of the value for me, again, looking at it like top side down, is the aspect that a general might appreciate from it, and just being able to put his troops into this scenario and kind of war game it and see what we got. Find out where the chinks in the armor are, and so we can shore them up and then do it again and then do it again and then do it again. And eventually you're just going to end up with like a really fucking solid foundation with very little flaws. You know what I'm saying? And just keep pressure testing it. Awesome. So a lot of the shit we do works really well for MMA. Great. Does it work good for kickboxing? No, this is garbage. Cool. Throw it out. Does this work? Excellent. We'll keep that. Does it translate to here? No. Cool. It stays in that avenue, but it doesn't come over here. This, however, this does work. We can bring this over and be able to kind of pick and choose out of a giant pot of shit that we know works and hopefully apply it to whatever the scenario is. So if it's, bringing competitive shit over to the combatives, awesome. If it's bringing combative shit over to the competitive side, great. If it's bringing fucking yoga postures over to kickboxing, guess what? We're going to do that shit too if it works. I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? And vice versa. If it works, it works.
But in order to have well-rounded, don't you have to define what it is that your desired end state is? Is your desired end state to be the best competitor out there? If yes, then maybe focus on competition.
My desired end state is to be the most actualized martial artist and leader I can be. So right now, the best leader I can be for my athletes is is leading the competition team, because that's what we need right now. In 5 years, there might be somebody, because our team's young and ill-experienced. That's it. No other reason. They're great. They're amazing.
Making a name.
Yeah. We're new and young. It's literally it. And they're amazing. They're savages. I've got people and friends that I know a long time in the martial arts community that are looking out for us and helping us get into cards and get onto paid tournaments and all kinds of fun stuff. And we're doing it. But that's what I'm doing this now, because that's where I can be most effective is leading my team from the front until such a time that I can maybe pass the baton to one of my other more seasoned people and then start steering things again from behind or from the side or from over the top like I like to do. My goal, to go back to your original question, is to be the most actualized leader I can be to make this thing work. So whatever I need to be doing to make that happen is what I plan to be doing. Right now, fucking being a competitive grappler is it.
Yep. No, I get it. I only ask because it's like, if you don't have a well-defined mission, you don't know where you're going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, my goal is to, like I said, just shore up the wheel, man. That's it. So that everybody's confident that the captain is steering the ship towards the horizon for a reason.
Well, I would say to that, because I get the apprehension or anxiety that a company is stepping into the ring and losing, or stepping into a match and losing, because you're supposed to be the best.
Yeah.
Especially if you're coaching and leading and developing other people. But even somehow, some way, even the people that I've looked up to or have been my mentors, I have beat, or I've seen beaten, and it's a little bit different because it's not man-on-man competition. Like, it's not a battle to the death, if you will. But the damage to the ego is insane. You can see how that's a driving force.
It's in how you take it too.
What you're
right?
looking to do.
It's in how you take it. Like again, two losses over the last 3 weeks, right? But very different categorically for me. Extremely different. The most recent one, and as a coach, it even pains me to say it, but I'll take the most recent one because I did myself well. I showed myself respect. I showed my athletes and people that believe in me a little bit of respect. The first one, I was not able to hold my head up after. So it's not just the loss, but for me, it's in how I'm carrying myself again and taking that leadership role, because the losses are going to happen. And part of being that leader is showing how we conduct ourselves when those losses happen. I'm not going to go home and be upset and sit in the corner and piss and moan and make a bunch of excuses. No, I have to watch video. I have to be honest about my shortcomings. I have to go into the gym. I have to work harder. So that whole thing goes both ways, you know.
And at least from the mature perspective, I would say like that is how competitors might look at it, you know. And I think there may be some value in teaching the students on how to actually look at these things, as well as turning them into good competitors. You know, like, hey, just because I lost or whatever doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything, but how I take it, what I do with that information is what matters more, you know?
Yeah, if I come in here and get beat with the same shit versus coming in here and looking like a goddamn wild dog the next time, you know what I mean? Like that's the difference. And that's where we can learn and grow. The example doesn't always have to be the win and the loss, but like you said, it's on the mats in between. Like, well, what are you doing? You got your ass kicked after that last match. What are you doing? Like they were all looking, and I'm not going to sit and make excuses or try to pretend I know how they felt, but they were all looking. I know they were watching after I got my fucking.
The 4-leaf clover. Yes, I think I have. The leprechaun.
It's all right. After I got my knee popped and had to hobble out of the cage, like they were all looking at me over the last 2 weeks before this next fight. Like, what's going to happen? How's he going to respond? What's going on? Like, is he training? What's going on? They're looking to me, even though it's not like a direct conversation. They're looking. They want to see what happens. Am I going to crawl into my little cave and feel bad about myself and pull myself off the next card? Or am I going to fucking put 3 knee braces on, down some painkillers, and go get my ass on the mat and figure out what the fuck I did wrong and go out there and represent myself the next time? You know what I mean? These are all things that it's part of that process. So to kind of touch on what you talked about before, it's, yes, I'm training them to be in this moment monsters on the platform and or cage, but let's not forget the ultimate goal here is we're cultivating people, man. Like we're making badass people, not badass fighters. So this whole process, and you talked about what the end goal is, this process is a micro process inside of the macro process of developing these people into better, more actualized, more badass people. So the type of resilience that they learn in these losses can only translate positively to life. Man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, what to do with how to react to the loss is way more important than what to do with the win, you know? And
that's an important lesson too, though. You know, like I said, I was 3-0. I'm sorry, 3-1 because I lost my first one, then won 3 and then lost the 3. Excuse me. I was feeling good, bro. I lost the first one, like whatever, 1-3, untouchable, king dingling, BDE just spilling out of the room all of a sudden. Shoot. You overestimate your own skills, underestimate your opponents, and next thing you know, you're back on the bottom of the heap. So like you said, it's where you quickly become the student again. So it's important to stay humble and keep that student mentality. That way you don't have to be humbled by the situation.
Right. You know, but it's good getting those that early humble, and it's important to feel that every now and again, for sure.
Yeah, man. It's honest when you get kicked in the teeth. It's honest. Like it sounds crazy, but you know what I'm talking about, figuratively and literally. Like there's something honest about it. Doesn't always feel good, but it's real.
Because you know, like I said, I look at things sometimes as like explanations, not excuses. But you know, you can turn it, it's not how you explain something, it's what you make of it. So like if you make an excuse, well, I couldn't win because, or rather I didn't win because, you know, I didn't win because is valid because you recognize the failure and know how to learn from it the next time, rather than I couldn't win because, you know, I couldn't win because just gives yourself an out.
That's it. It's a built-in escape hatch, right? It's a reason to let yourself off the hook and not go do the work. Well, I don't have to do the work. He only won because X, Y, and Z.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I don't like it one bit.
He only won because of leg locks. Fuck leg locks.
Fucking leg locks. Well, it's like, it reminds me, like I had a fantastic time hanging out with Ben at Redbeard. Shout out to Redbeard Combatives. Up at Formiga School in Spring Hill a week or two ago when we went over there together as a team.
Primal striking.
Primal striking, thank you. Primal striking in MMA. Amazing time. Had a lot of fun in the class. We were there for almost 6 hours, I think, on a 4-hour seminar. And everybody had a great time. But like that excuse thing, like you're talking about, it came up in my head because obviously I think maybe Ben spotted me and put 2 and 2 together. Maybe I don't move around like a normal schleb and instantly very first round of force on force, you know, it was controlled. It was light stuff. Instantly puts me with the black belt owner of the school, knowing nothing about me. I know he didn't have time to Google me or look me up. I'm just like, okay. So it's like that.
That son of a bitch.
Right?
I noticed that too.
As soon as like he's like, hey, taps me on the shoulder, you're gonna go with him. I'm like, okay. So that's how it's gonna go. Whatever. It's not a big deal. But not knowing, like it was my first iteration in one of these type of training scenarios. I'm in there in khakis and a friggin' Hawaiian shirt, right? I'm not wearing rolling equipment, even though I've been on the mats a million times. I'm clearly not in the jiu-jitsu mind frame. So we're doing the thing and going through all the motions. And either the first round or the second round, I don't remember, this kid hits a clean double leg on me. And I'm like, as I'm in the air, it's kind of like what is it, the Wonder Years when that voice comes in, like, so I bet you're wondering how I got here. And my heels are like coming around. At this moment. Right? As my heels are coming around, I'm like, you know, you've probably defended about 1 million double legs in your day. Yet here you are looking at your heels. And here we go. Boom to the mat. I'm like, fuck. I'm still holding on to this firearm though. I guess I'm okay. But it's like, God damn, I made every excuse in the book about why that kid just smooth double legged me. But when I take a step back, and not kid, I apologize for Miga, sir. You're not a kid. But when I take a step back and go, well, yeah, he fucking double legged because you're playing tickle dick with the gun and not focusing on the guy that's in front of you that's a black belt and trying to fight you. Be realistic with yourself. Don't make 1 million excuses about this, that, or the next thing. That's what fucking happened. Pay attention, dummy. And it's something that I can act on and correct, right? Just because I'm focused over here on retaining doesn't mean I can't still fight. But if I allow the excuses to set in of X, Y, Z, it's his school. He knows Ben. He's probably trained before. That lets me off the hook and I don't have to correct my bullshit. So I totally understand where you're coming from there. Totally get that.
Yep. When we started messing around with this stuff, this, you know, combatives and whatnot, I was reassured by the fact that, well, at least partially, right? Because a novel situation where you plug in a gun or plug in a knife, and probably even more than a knife in the gun, with a lower level practitioner against a higher level practitioner, there's probably a good roll or two, maybe, where I can catch them unawares. Somebody higher than myself, right? But it's about at that point that it's like, okay, you quickly understand the rules of the game. So it was reassuring to know that the excess in skill with jiu-jitsu does translate over to the novel exercise of entering in a weapon. and you're not so behind the curve that it takes you, 6 years to figure out how to deal with it.
Correct. You're not a white belt in a brand new sport.
Quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But, however, the 1 or 2 times that you deal with that novel situation should not be in the street, because if it is, you are very likely to lose, because all it takes is that 1 or 2 times. It's not going to be 2 times, but 1 time to really lose, and lose in a very monumental way. So I guess that
catastrophic.
would be the message.
Yeah,
life ending, and that would be my message to people that are practitioners in jiu-jitsu is, hey, you don't need a whole lot of work to address this problem, but you do need the work.
Oh yeah, and that was a huge thing when you and I first started training together. That learning curve happened fairly quickly, but it was steep. Like the cliff dropped off very quickly, and we got there fairly quick. But at the beginning, dude, it was like, man, it was uncomfortable, bro. Like straight up uncomfortable. But again, it's like you said, it's reassuring to know that fundamentals of movement and balance and foundations, keeping yourself into the ground and how to pivot and rotate and manipulate somebody else's body weight, all these things can scale jiu-jitsu wise. They don't necessarily just automatically depreciate when we talk about combatives. There is a potential for that to scale as well, in parallel, depending on whether or not you're actively doing that in your training, or like you said, if it's just something you at least keep in mind and get exposed to enough to not let that freak out response happen.
Right. And I think you notice that, like, again, when you did your evolutions with Formiga, it was like, okay, black belt, right? And previously the combative situations that you've been in have been, blue and purple-ish.
Yeah, white, blue, purple.
So it always kind of escalates, like if your opponent knows how to deal with your movement, they can more readily plug in the weapon, because they know how to answer, the problems that you're giving them.
Sure.
From a physicality perspective.
Plus the psychological advantage of the majority of the time when we've gone through these things, I'm the instructor in the room. Like there's a decisive advantage to that, where you might come at me a little bit harder because we don't get to spend as much time together. Those other knuckleheads, they have. I've done it with my coach before too. You don't necessarily go 1,000% at your coach, so I have the benefit of that in normal training, whereas this other dude has his buddy Ben come over, tap him, and say, go get him. I'm not gonna get that same luxury. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's all full circle.
It's funny that you mentioned that, and it's something I think about often. It's like there's definitely a social and psychological dilemma, if you will, in training, especially from a school perspective, because you can't. A hierarchy will develop itself within a school. You can't help it. It happens. It's just how humans work. And so it makes me wonder about things like, traveling to other schools and walking into other schools and seeing how it works there, because you don't, at least you as doing more traveling to other schools than you do participating in your own.
I think there's a balance. There's got to be a balance. Like we cross train and we travel a lot now because we're waiting for the gym, but I'm really big on cross training because of that specifically. Like you learn how to fight me before you learn how to fight well. Like that's it. If you and I train together all the time, you're going to get really good at fighting me before you get really good at fighting. So cross training and exposing yourself to other people that have different skill sets, different weight, height, different attributes is only going to be beneficial. If it's a safe environment, of course.
Yeah. For sure. Well, and that's the other thing. I think that's a fine line, right? Like thinking about what is safety versus what's training, what's valuable in training. You know, and I think after you've trained with the same people or person enough times, you fall more into the safety than you do the value. And, you know, I get it. Like, you got to take care of your training partners, right? If you want to train again tomorrow.
Sure.
So that's definitely a thing, but I think sometimes that might become an excuse to train lighter than you should. And then when you walk into competition, you're like, oh, this is how it's gonna go. You know,
that happened to me.
So
yeah.
it's
or literally the exact words, and this is maybe a month ago, as we're leading up to this competition and me deciding to take the competition before the competition as a tune-up, turning down matches, going, you know, my neck and back have really been bothering me. I don't want to go with that guy.
Great.
Well, why not? Well, he's gonna fucking squeeze on my neck, man. I don't want to be waking up with my back sore tomorrow. Like, I can sit now that you said that and think and go, fuck, man. Motherfucker. You're getting ready for competition. Maybe roll with those guys. But yes, at the same time, I do, if I'm hurt all the time, I can't compete anyway. So there has to be balance, like I said.
But oh man, that's one of my biggest things with jiu-jitsu. And well, not really. I say that. What I mean is this, like, I am not interested in jiu-jitsu competition at all. At all. Here's why. Because I recognize that in order to be effective in competition, I need to train at competition speed and intensity. And I don't think, generally speaking, that I need that for self-defense. I'm really in it just for self-defense. And so
I put a huge asterisk on that. Only because when the cracked out meth head comes from around the corner at the 7-Eleven, it's not going to be with like a gentle pat on the back and a how do you do. It's going to be like that guy that comes at me with the double leg. So working and reacting and fighting and executing at that speed, I think, can be hugely beneficial. However, I don't think it's beneficial to train at that speed all the time. But getting used to being able to operate in that speed is hugely beneficial.
And I'm not defining it correctly in the way that I mean it, but you know, the meta that exists in the training environment is not the same meta that you're gonna, you know, necessarily find in the street.
Correct.
Per se.
Absolutely. I'm not gonna run up and hit you with a brick from behind in a jiu-jitsu match, just like I'm not gonna go to single leg X and try to, you know, rethread to an outside or inside ashi position in a street altercation. There's different variables, right? You're not gonna fuck up your break fall in a jiu-jitsu match and hit your head on a curb and bleed to death or have a stroke. But in a street fight, it's a very real possibility. Maybe don't fucking pull guard, right? Because you don't know what's behind you. Of course. There's
no butt scooting?
No butt scoots. I know. I'm just going to break fall really hard and hope I don't hit the parking block. And you hit the little fucking piece of rebar sticking out of the parking block. You know what I'm saying? Right. Obviously, there's a lot that doesn't transfer over. I'm not trying to talk you into competition, but I think,
I get it. I
think there would be, other than the potential for orthopedic surgery on the old knees, I think there would actually probably be a lot in terms of pressure testing yourself, even if you don't necessarily care about outcome, just that floor to ceiling, back to floor pressure test of, you know, making your adrenaline spike, making your brain go crazy and really trying it out, knowing that it's not me under the hood. that's actually going to stop if something really bad starts happening or you start feeling really crummy, that you can be like, all right, stop. We need to reset, or I need to figure out what I'm doing here. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe what I mean, perhaps more specifically, is the point of diminishing returns, right?
Yeah,
so for like shooting, for the most part, I can practice shooting forever and never really have to worry about permanent injuries, with minor exceptions, of course. But jiu-jitsu, it's like, hey, somebody could put something on me and throw my, I mean, we've seen it a million times before, right? Like, you can actually like be out of commission. You can't do shit.
Kyle has a torn ACL right now. Had to step away from a fight. Yep. And that happened in practice. Yeah.
And the thing of it is like, okay, you have to evaluate that practice session. What were you practicing for? Were you protecting your ego in the practice, or were you searching for skills that you needed in order to win competition? Now he finds himself, or anybody else that's been injured, has found themselves in a position where they're actually far less adequate to defend their life in a real world situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the line that I draw, for myself personally.
Right. I can see that. It could diminish the potential for adequately defending yourself if something were to happen outside of the sport arena. You're not wrong. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I could make the same association with driving a car. Like, honestly, granted, the potential for orthopedic injury is higher, but the likelihood of getting an a fender bender is probably significantly more high than an injury on the jiu-jitsu mat. So, like, I could easily make that correlation. It's a matter of how you want to put the value into the skill set, I think, or what kind of value you assign the skill set, I guess.
Right.
And that's going to vary on the person.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Some people you can't get off the mat. Some people you couldn't put $1 million in front of them and they're like, his balls in my face? I don't think so. Like, it's just never gonna happen. Like,
north, south.
Right. So you basically just put your sweaty nuts on my face for a half hour and then try to break my arm. Pass. Right. Like, it's just not gonna happen for some people. So, and I can appreciate that too. I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think it's just that's a more of an interpersonal hierarchy probably than anything else, because to some people you wouldn't, like, you'll have to drag them off. My fucking my knees aren't in good shape. It doesn't really matter specifically what's wrong with them. They're not in great shape. My ass had 2 knee braces on one leg, 1 knee brace on the other one, and I was out there practicing after that first competition because I knew what was on the line for the next one, and I knew I wasn't going to allow myself to be like, and let the opportunity go by. No, I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to go do it. So, but the value was there for me, not just for the W for the competition, but to go out there and represent myself better after feeling like I fell short the last time.
Right.
So I guess that it really just goes back to that value.
Yeah, and defining what your mission is.
Sure.
Because if you don't do that, you're going to develop yourself, and also, more importantly, walk into situations and act in a way that may not be in accordance with what's important to you. It's only in retrospect that you'll figure out, oh, I wish I would have known that because I wouldn't have done that shit, So
that part becomes, and here's my favorite opportunity to shoehorn in some woo-woo, but my favorite part is, for as complicated as that stuff can get, if I remove the I or the me from most of those thoughts or statements or points of ambition in those times of, we need to make a choice or a decision needs to be made here, or we need to pick a new course for the ship to run, we got to adjust the rudder slightly. It's a lot easier to make a decision, in my opinion, that has a altruistic and positive outcome if I remove myself or my wants from the equation and try to operate from that place of virtue in terms of what is the right thing to do versus what do I need out of this situation, or what do I need to get out of the situation. Not the right thing to do for me, but what's the right thing to do? And obviously there's going to be some of that falls into sub programming that's running back here that I don't have readily available access to in that exact moment. But more often than not, if I can allow myself to function from that somewhat selfless and virtuous place, a lot of those times those decisions and choices will make themselves through me or via me, or allow me to be a conduit for them. Sometimes it's to my personal detriment, but ultimately it usually ends up working out for the greater good or for the good of those around me.
Yep, absolutely agree. I mean, you find yourself in a somewhat unique position in that your goal, vision, if you will, is to be an instructor, be a coach, be a mentor for those around you. And so, you know, in many ways, you need to suffer this pain and learn these lessons so that you can pass them on to others around you.
Sure.
But there is also a balance, and I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about here, but there are those that I've looked up to or been around or been mentored by that have not been able to participate because of, you know, the lessons, if you will, that they've learned in the past. And
I have to preserve myself enough to be there to see the fruits of the labor down the road. Absolutely. I get that entirely.
Perfect balance, and it's an impossible question, you know, but
well, and that's
something to think about.
That's the word I think we keep throwing back and forth here, is that word balance, right? And having other people around you to riff off of and share responsibility with and share mat time with, and all of that stuff that needs to be equally diffused amongst the group. And having like that core group of us that you're seeing in these meetings that you're talking to that are operating together on a regular basis, like these are going to be our leaders in a few years. Like there's a reason why there's so much being invested in you guys now, because we're going to be leading what's happening. And hopefully when I can take a step back, it's going to be you guys are going to be the ones running your respective shit. You know what I'm saying? Like at a high clip. So there's, I think, hopefully the goal is that there will be time for that. And it's hopefully as we continue on, the specific hands-on role that I have to have will directly reduce as the strength of the structure increases. Does that make sense? There's going to be more quality hands on deck to do the work. But just to kind of touch back on what you were saying before in terms of leading, you mentioned it earlier, and I know you got to get running. We can wrap it up after this. But that was the other thing in terms of like not competing for like almost a 10-year gap. We're about the same age. Dudes that are 10 years younger than me, 8 years younger than me, that are 25, 26, 27, 28. Think about the fact that they've got 10 years of video and instructionals for this sport that did not exist when I was actively competing. There wasn't even amateur MMA when I was fighting. And this was 2011. The state of Florida didn't have sanctioned amateur MMA. So all these guys that are competing now in these no-gi jiu-jitsu super fights that are black belts and have been competing for 6 years, they came up with the advantages of the internet and having video of guys that are way better than me that set the tone, trailblazing this and putting instructionals out there, right? So to get where I'm at now versus these guys that coming up and have gotten to a similar level 10 years later, they came up with a way higher floor than we did, right? Think about all the kids that are out there competing. Remember the young lady, Callie, that used to be on our competition team? She's been in jiu-jitsu for like 7 years. By the time she turns 16 and is eligible to be a blue belt in the adult division, she might have 8 years of jiu-jitsu under her belt.
Right.
That's one example. That's kids programs in general. If you're a 14-year-old world champion, you're not going to automatically be a purple belt when you turn 16. Like if you're going by IBJJF standards, they're going to make you be a fucking blue belt for over a year. You could have 10 fucking years of jiu-jitsu and you're walking around in a blue belt. So by the time one of these kids is 25 and a black belt, they've got the benefit of 10 years of video of world-class instructors at their fingertips. It's all on the internet. The sport they've come up with, like their head instructors are the guys that pioneered the sport. And they've come up starting with a floor that's here versus way the hell down here where we were at when jiu-jitsu was like, homoerotic in the back room of the weightlifting gym. That's what we used to oh dude,
episode of Seinfeld.
We used to get clowned. Yeah, literally in the back of the weightlifting gym, just getting laughed at because we're in there sweating in our pajamas and hugging on each other. But like that's a big difference. Like the floor when I started versus where the floor is now. Look at that kid Jack. Tommy's ace. That kid is a fucking scary ass 17-year-old. That kid is scary. 17 years old.
Kids are fucking prodigies.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That kid at 17, if he was in a gi, I think he would be a purple belt just based on his age and time in. That's scary because I know black belts that kid can beat.
And thank God, right? Because it's what we sought or are seeking, to develop the sport, the art, if you will. And mad respect for that, even if they're doing low blocks. But they're killers. They're
monsters.
Absolute killers.
Monsters. So my goal, kind of to wrap where I was kind of going with those couple different points is, yes, there are some tricky metas that don't necessarily make sense across the board with what we're doing. There are some positives that we can take, some good parallels that we can take. There's life lessons to be learned. There's all kinds of stuff here and there that we can point out, but the ultimate goal, other than the giant macro of just making people better, like I mentioned, with regards to kind of what we're doing here, is I think, to put it a little bit more simply, to give my athletes the highest floor possible. Just like how we were kind of talking about with some of these guys that are coming out most recently. I know that I don't approach or attack things the same as a lot of traditional martial artists. And I feel like that is a huge advantage, even in seeing how I teach my structured jiu-jitsu classes now by comparison to some of the other instructors that I've either come up with or have the pleasure of teaching alongside. Get a lot of feedback just on the way that I teach, and the method in which I teach and how I show things versus like a lot of the step by step, this is how you do this move, A, B, C, D type of approach that a lot of people get. So with that, and hopefully the wealth of my experience, not to the point where I'm, in the corner just calling it out and not able to participate, but with what I've done in the past and up to and including this point, and once we get you guys to the point where you're comfortable enough on your own to be out there just leading your programs and doing your thing, that's where I can kind of take a little bit of a breath and be like, fuck yeah, we got a real solid jump off point. Everybody's fucking boom, boom, boom. Everybody's firing. Now I can kind of take a little bit of a step back. I don't need to be out there competing in a fucking cage at 40. Can I? Sure. I'm going to be in fucking amazing shape. I'm going to be in the shape that I can do it. I don't fucking want to. I want to go. I'll coach. I'll be your number one fucking fan for every one of our athletes that are out there doing it. But if I have to still be out there, I'll fucking be out there setting the tone. I don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal. That's the goal. That's where we want to be.
No, I get it. And setting the tone in a healthy way and giving the people the information that they need in order to define, what it is that they want out of it.
That's it.
Is the important thing. That way they're not, misguided, because following is the mistake. Even if you're leading, that doesn't mean that somebody necessarily needs to follow you. You can do both, where you're leading a leader.
That's the whole point.
Should be a leader.
That's the whole point. This does not work if you don't have the fortitude to take direction of your own life. We've had recently, and I'm not like, it's probably like not the best business plan. I'm not against turning people away. I recently had to tell an athlete that I'm very fond of that it's not the right time for you to be with our team. Much to their chagrin. I will offer you everything I possibly can, every bit of my energy, every bit of my knowledge, everything I can give you, I'll pour into you, everything without the drop of a hat, but I will never force it on you. And if you're not ready to accept, then that's fine. It will never, ever, ever be forced on you. I'm never going to talk you into it. I'm never going to beg you or drag you anywhere. If you want it, all you got to do is show up and get it. That's it. And it's all yours. But I'm never going to make you do it. So that was a very real conversation. If people aren't ready to grow and leave a part of their selves that's detrimental behind, then it's going to be a bumpy road. And so most people aren't going to hang around for that. It's just like jiu-jitsu. Most people don't stick around. How many people that walk in the door make it to blue belt? Less than half. How many people that are blue belts make it to purple? Less than half. And it just keeps going. Like they say it all the time. Black belts are just the ones that stayed. Like,
yeah, because you can't help it. You can't help it.
It takes a special kind of fucking crazy and a special kind of fortitude to put yourself through the crucible over and over and over and over again. There's no possible outcome other than creating leaders. If anybody can, for anybody that voluntarily goes into our program, there's no other possible outcome than being a strong, confident leader.
Absolute mad lad.
That's it. Yeah. There's no other outcome. You're going to wash out, or you're going to quit, or you're going to fucking do it. And when you do it, you will be fucking savage when you're done. There's no other way to do it.
And that's the formula for.
And I'm not just talking about on the mats.
Everything.
I'm talking about being a fucking savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the formula for everything.
That's it.
Everything. You know, everything that's worth having, anyways. So.
Bing, bing. And on that note,
I appreciate you.